Today we're going to look at the narcissism inside of dog culture. Let's start off with a little clip from narcissist expert Jerry Wise. So we're over here on YouTube.
Remember who put the roof over your head? In narcissistic families, kindness or basic provision was held over you like a debt. Your parents turned dependency into a tool of control.
Dependency into a tool of control. That is dog owning parents. The dog is the golden child. The little human baby is the scapegoat. You better take good care of mommy and daddy's dog, or your provisions, your attention, your care, your food even, your peace and quiet even, is going to be held over your head.
Insisting you owe your loyalty. Today, you hesitate to claim your independence. Even in necessary distance, you carry guilt.
That is dog culture. Dog owners are constantly guilty. They didn't do enough for their dog. They just didn't do enough. They're working so hard. They're not wearing their good clothes, work extra hours, buy more stuff for the dog, more pills, more vet care, more pet insurance. And they don't have their independence because they're too busy worshiping the dog. They're so driven to worship this dog, they'll push humans out of their life. They'll push their own children out of their life. And still they feel guilty. So many studies show that dog owners are so driven by guilt. And so, in today's video, I'm going to prove that this analysis from Jerry Wise and many other narcissist experts is on full display and full power within dog culture. So first, we're going to start off with something here called self-destructive behaviors. So that type of narcissist abuse that he's talking about causes self-destructive behaviors. And these behaviors have seen concerning increases across America, particularly in young adults. And so that's why this is a problem beyond just, oh, it's so funny that the little kid, got humped by the dog or tripped over by the dog. This suppression and abuse, this using triangulation against your human children, with your human children as the scapegoat, this causes addiction and suicide and all kinds of things downstream. And so, children who are chronically suppressed, invalidated, or emotionally neglected frequently act out later in life. Now, you can see this with people that are walking their dog, for example. They're forced to walk dogs as little kids, knocked over, tripped over, had their heads cracked open by dogs. And you ever notice that a lot of dog owners are walking their dog and they're just in an absolute piss shit mood? It's because, in part, they had to suppress all that when they were little kids. Yeah, pay attention, people. This is really on full display. When a child's natural emotions are ignored or punished, they develop survival strategies that manifest in adulthood as emotional dysregulation, difficulties in relationships, and internalize or externalized behavior issues. You can also see this with people that own lots of dogs. They don't get along good with humans, and that's because as children, that's what they were all about. They were all about the relationship with mommy and daddy's dog. They weren't about the relationship with their brothers and sisters and their father and mother. One of the strategies that can manifest, like it says right here, is the dog owners. Why do they have so many dogs? It's because they learned that as kids. Yeah, so emotional numbness and avoidance. Adults struggle to identify, name, or process their own feelings, leading to emotional unavailability or shunning intimacy. Shunning intimacy, dog owners more and more shun humans, and they turn to their dogs for intimacy. People-pleasing and perfectionism. Now pay attention to this one, guys. A lack of emotional validation can drive adults to overachieve to suppress their own needs in a subconscious attempt to earn love and validation from others. That's dog owners. They have to constantly have more attention for their dog. Look at my dog on social media. Look at all the stuff I bought for them. And they suppress their own needs as a human. They need food, shelter, quality time with other humans, and they will sacrifice that. Dog owners will say, I'll sell my truck, I'll be homeless before my dog goes without a meal. I'll run my bank account dry before my dog goes without a meal. Yeah, suppressing their own needs. Acting out behaviors. When suppressed emotions can no longer be contained, they frequently emerge as sudden outbursts, intense mood swings, or childish reactions that are hard to control. You see dog owners doing this all the time. Any little thing that comes along that goes against everything they believe about their dog, it's an outburst. Yeah. Mental health challenges. Chronic emotional suppression is linked to a higher risk of developing anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. You ever notice that all these dog owners, they're constantly saying that they need their dog for stress. They need their dog for, all of this emotional support. Well, it's because they grew up in a house where their whole validation, their whole being a good kid was based on how much did they tolerate mom and dad's stupid dog. And so now as an adult, they need that little token. They need that little puppy right there by them to constantly manage those emotions. Yep. Yeah. Adults may develop insecure attachment styles, making it difficult to trust others and form healthy, secure bonds. Yeah. Dogs are better. Dogs are better than humans. I trust my dog more. Yeah, because you suppress your human emotions all that time. You were letting your parents abuse you with a dog, and now you need the presence of a dog to continue suppressing those emotions. Yep. So let's read about this some more. Mental illnesses linked to emotional suppression um, are increasing. Habitually hiding feelings overactivates your nervous system, leading to emotional numbness, impaired memory, and higher risk of psychological disorders. So, towards the end of this video, I have 3 really good examples of this emotional suppression that we're putting on our kids. But for now, just read along with me. So, what about the toll of suppression? Prevents your brain from fully processing feelings, keeps your amygdala highly engaged, releasing stress hormones like cortisol, increasing inflammation. All the illnesses, the mental illnesses and physical illnesses that are related to amygdala being overworked and cortisol, they're all on the rise in our society. Yeah. Struggling with maladaptive coping strategies like suppression is a primary contributor to both substance misuse and major depressive disorders, both which are on the rise. Damage of suppression can vary based on societal and cultural factors. However, widespread cultural pressure to always appear strong, positive, or productive largely contributes to the rising rate of these disorders. So read that. Always appear strong, always appear positive, and always appear productive. Dog owners will be poor, broke, whatever else. They can have 20 dead dogs in their basement. Dog hoarding is a huge thing. But on the outside, it's like, oh, we're the greatest good people. We're just rescuing dogs. We're just breeding dogs. We're part of a 501c3 charity. Oh, we're so good people. Yeah, they got 18 dead dogs in the backyard, just like the no-kill shelters. The no-kill shelters are like the ultimate virtue signal of our society right now. But more and more, these shelters have been found out that they have hundreds of dogs buried in the back. Yeah, and so that's the whole thing. Dog culture appears strong, it appears productive, but really it's just working us into the ground. And it also hurts dogs because we breed more dogs. We want to look productive, right? You want to look productive. Yay, look at all the dogs that we helped and bred and freaking put into homes. Yeah, homes where they end up getting shot by police officers and getting hoarded. Yeah, this whole dog loving society. Appear strong, appear positive, and appear productive. Yeah, work your ass off so you can own more dogs. So, a little bit more about this. Suppressing emotions during childhood rewires the nervous system, leading to long-term struggles with emotional regulation. So this isn't something that you want to be doing. Bottling up emotions is linked to a higher lifetime risk of depression, anxiety, emotional numbness, as we've already read. I just want to drive this point home because this is a prerequisite for understanding the stuff I have for you at the end of this video. Physical health complications, the body expresses what words cannot. Unexpressed emotions can cause recurrent headaches, stomach aches, muscle tension, weakened immunity. All things that are more and more on the rise in our society. Yep. Attachment issues. Children who learn to hide their feelings often grow into emotionally unavailable and detached adults. So many of our divorces and crappy dating relationships, it's because these people are emotionally unavailable. They're detached. And the only thing they want to attach to is what? A freaking dog. Yeah, because they grew up around dogs, being told that the dog is like basically their badge of approval. If you were good to a dog and you suppressed your emotions for a dog, then you're a good person. And now as an adult, you want to try to date somebody or marry somebody, and that doesn't give you as much value. The value is you need to wear this badge of good dog owner. Yeah. Struggle with intimacy, difficult setting boundaries, develop anxious or avoidant attachment styles. Yep. Low self esteem, the child's emotions are dismissed. They internalize that their beliefs do not matter. Yeah. Maladaptive coping. Wow. And so, narcissism. Here we go. Narcissist parents frequently allow, encourage, or even orchestrate one sibling to hurt or disrupt another. That's dog owning parents. They do that to their little kids all the time. They allow the dog to hump the kid, steal the kid's food, jump in the kid's bed, etc. Now, what about, do narcissists often force the well behaved children to tolerate the other child? Yes, it's very common for narcissist parents to force a well behaved child to tolerate poor or abusive behavior from the sibling. That is the dog mom, dog dad relationship with their human kid. They constantly force the human kid to be the scapegoat while the dog is the golden child. Yep. So now on to my examples from society. First, we have a few videos. I went back about 12 years on Facebook, or YouTube, sorry. And this is parents forcing their kids to pick up dog poop. And none of these kids want to do this. They don't want to do this at all.
Now turn the bag around. Turn it inside out. What you doing? What you doing?
So, first off, this is just freaking sick and nasty. But my point is, this is narcissist abuse. So, the dog is the golden child. The dog can shit anywhere it wants, but that's not the problem. The problem isn't that you have a creature in your house that shits everywhere. The problem is your kids aren't picking up enough dog poop. It's triangulation. And then they're putting it all over YouTube. Look at us, we made our kid pick up dog poop. Aren't we good people? And these kids do not want to fucking do this bullshit. It is so gross and so nasty. They're exposing their kids to dog feces. And in many of these videos, the parents are in the background stroking the dog. And then they'll take the dog in and give the dog a steak. Yeah, and so the fact that these people just film themselves doing all of this proves my point. It's narcissist triangulation. Even look at the labeling of some of these. Are your kids not picking up dog poop again? They're playing this guilt game. Oh, you didn't go pick up after your little brother? Your little brother shit all over the yard. This would never fly if it was a human shitting all over your property. But if the golden child dog wants to cause problems, then your kid has to pick up the slack. They don't get any chance to choose this. You're forcing this on them. And dog people know. They say right here, toddler hates dog poop. And then they say, pick up after your animals, you filthy animals. So they know that the dog poop is filthy, but they're forcing their children to go pick it up while they film themselves. They're not filming themselves teaching the kid how to put a puzzle together or identify birds out in nature. They're using dog poop as a virtue signal. Yeah, it's freaking gross. Let's go on to our next example. So now we have what I call the parenting failure, allowing dogs to hump kids and otherwise hurt them. Let's just start off with one example right here.
No.
Yeah, that's the golden child. That's even a golden retriever, I think, too. Let's go to another example right here. This one is called Kid Fails at Walking Dog. Notice they put the guilt in there. They say that the child failed. No, it's the freaking parent who failed. Let's have a look. So here we are at a typical dog person video. So they're going to say that this kid failed. See what they're doing? They're putting the guilt on the child. The parent should have been out there helping. They gave the dog one of those extendable leashes, which means the dog got a really good running start to be able to pull the kid over. If they would have gave the dog a regular leash, this wouldn't have happened. So it's a parenting fail. Okay, the kid is not in control of the finances or the debit card to purchase the leash. The parent screwed up, but they put the guilt on the kid. Yeah, there goes the dog running away. And what's the parent doing? Filming it. The parent could put their phone down and help the kid, but no. This is just plain virtue signaling narcissist triangulation. This right here is the scapegoat. That's the golden child. And the parents are using the presence of the dog to make themselves look good. Look at the lesson that I'm teaching my boy. Look at this. He better learn to take care of that dog right, or when he becomes an adult, he's not going to fit in with the rest of society.
Go get it. Told you that was going to happen.
Told you that was going to happen. So the adult knew that was going to happen. He allowed his child to be face planted. But he blames the kid. Kid fails. And this video is not an outlier. This is how these freaking dog owners think. This is how these dog owners think. They think that the child is there for their own entertainment. They allow the dog to thrash the child all over the place. Look at dad over here laughing his ass off while his little daughter is chasing this dog around, falling on her face on this freaking asphalt. It's triangulation. Remember what we looked at earlier. Narcissist parents allow, encourage, or even orchestrate one sibling to hurt or disrupt another. This behavior is part of deliberate manipulation tactic called triangulation. These dog owners think that they're so cool, hurting other humans with their dogs as adults. They were hurt by their parents. These people, guys, this shit is not emotionally rich or fascinating, as some of the other dog culture channels might say. Yeah, I brought that up. But this is not hilarious. These words, hilarious, it's not hilarious. It's triangulation, it's manipulation. These parents are using the dog to get accolades from the public. In almost all of these videos, the people are also laughing along with the parents as their kids literally get pulverized. They'll tell children to respect the dog's space, don't pet the dog when it's eating. But, yeah. And this little girl right here, when she becomes a dog owner, all of her having to suppress her own desires as a little kid. Maybe she wants to look up at some cool birds over there. Maybe she wants to talk to dad about, how this fence is built. She has to suppress all that and sit there and worship a dog for her parents. As an adult, she's going to need that dog around her. As an adult, she's going to act out all of these suppressions. When she walks her dog, she's going to be in a bad mood. Her nervous system, this little kid's nervous system, stores all of this stress. And so you see people walking their dogs and they seem really irritated all the time. Guess where a lot of that came from? Getting beat to shit by your stupid freaking dog parents as a kid. Yeah, it's psychologically proven. It's been studied for decades. It's not something that I'm just making up. And so that's our second playlist that I have for you guys. It has it proves everything I'm saying. I'm not going to bother clicking on any of these dogs hump kids, but this is another phenomenon that just really makes no sense with the dog owners. And it's like our guy said.
A roof over your head? In narcissistic families, kindness or basic provision was held over you like a debt.
Boom. Let's go back to our playlist. Kindness or basic provisions is held over your head. You're not allowed to sit peacefully. You're not allowed to play in the snow peacefully unless you let mom and dad's dog hump all over you, jump on top of you, knock you off the couch. Your food spills everywhere, your drink spills everywhere. But it's funny, they say. The basic provision that you're supposed to give your little children is peace. They got this video here where the baby starts to cry because the dog is freaking barking and yelling and screaming at the kid. Brrr, stupid freaking mutts. Yeah, kindness and provisions. You're not allowed that because mom and dad need to get a laugh. Dog humps the little girl at the freaking dog park and they do a whole video about it. Look at us. Look at what we let dogs do to our kids. We must be good people. No, sorry, you're not. So now let's go to our third and final playlist for today, stealing food. So these dog-loving parents, they constantly allow food to be stolen from their kids by their dogs. The kid is crying, but you're filming it. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of these videos on YouTube. It's ridiculous. How can you think that this is good? But anyways, they're just using this for attention, for triangulation. The kid, it's the kid's fault for letting the dog eat the food, but mom is sitting there filming it. It's just like the other parent that said, I told you that would happen. So these parents know that this is going to happen, but then they blame this kid for what happens. The kid wants to eat the food in peace, but it can't because mom and dad need a laugh, and mom and dad need some more YouTube likes. And the kid's also learning suppression here because the kid has to stuff the food in her face so that the dog can't eat it. You know, it's like, hurry up and consume all my resources before this dog steals it. This is going to stick with this kid's nervous system all through her life. You know, and of course people are going to say, well, the kid's throwing a fit or whatever. The kid is expressing dislike for the dog. And sadly, when this kid becomes a dog owner, they're probably going to do the same thing to their little kids because they want to get that revenge. All this suppression that you're forcing on these little kids, it's going to come back as an adult, and they're going to want to force this type of abuse on other people too. Yep, so there's 20 videos here. It's all the same bullshit. I'll show you one last one. These husky channels are literally the worst.
Daddy, there you go.
So they give this kid some junk food, little potato chip, onion ring things, and then they let the husky dog come up and steal the food. You know, they're brainwashing this child to think that the dog is better. What's so crazy about this, if you look at these husky videos, they take that husky into the kitchen and they feed it like steak and salmon and roasted vegetables with butter and stuff. So they're using their cheap, crappy food to, let the baby have a couple bites and then let the dog steal it. And later they'll spoil these dogs with like top of the line meat and other, high dollar items. So it really shows you where their priority is. Their priority is on the dog. Their priority is getting cheap attention and cheap likes. Look at this one, 2.81 million subscribers. We are straight up in a dog worshiping society that's piled full of this abuse and suppression. This child has the desire to consume food, but the child has to play these games and suppress its own natural instincts to eat food because, mom and dad want to play these stupid little games, And of course, then they make the baby feed the husky too. Freaking ridiculous. Yep. So there you go, guys. That's how dog culture causes all types of downstream illnesses in society. These poor kids that live with these dog-owning parents have to suppress so much every day, and then they get used as tools of attention for their narcissist parents. It's pretty sick. It's not fascinating. Definitely not emotionally rich. See you later.